Welcome to this latest video from my series on hints and tips for prospective or new RV owners. It is the spring of the year. My camper has been covered up all winter, and in the next few weeks I'm going to be taking my first trip with it, so it is time to start getting it ready for a new camping season, and that's what we're going to focus on in this video. The first step is going to be to uncover it, of course, and I'm going to do that here without the video running just because it takes a little while getting all that stuff off by myself. But then I'm going to show you a really simple way to roll your cover up to make it very easy to deploy next fall when you're ready to winterize your camper. So stay tuned for more, and we'll cover several things that'll make it easier for you to get ready for a new season. Okay, I have laid my cover out flat on the ground, and I'm going to show you how a couple things to do. Well, first of all, before you cover it up, or before you store it for the winter, make sure it's absolutely dry. If you store it wet, you're going to get mold and mildew, and that could completely destroy it. The other thing is to inspect it carefully for damage. You may find little holes and stuff that you can repair. I'm actually going to demonstrate rolling this up, and then I'm going to throw it away because it's got several holes in it that are, at this point, probably not worth fixing. Just with the wind, rubbing it and grinding it on the corners and stuff all winter long. Next fall I'll get a new one. They cost a few $100s, but they're well worth it in the damage that they prevent. So what we're going to do, I've got it laid out flat as if the camper is underneath it here. You're looking at the roof aspect of it here. I'm going to start by taking the sides and pulling them in on both sides, basically to the corners of the roof. I'll do the same thing on the ends here. I'll just fold them in. Fold this side in. So ultimately what I wind up with is something just the size of the roof, roughly. And also it will be right side up. So when I fold this in a few minutes, it'll be done in such a way that next fall, all that it takes to put it on is to just simply lay it on the roof and roll it out, and then flip the sides down. So once I've got the sides folded in, I'm not even worried about being super tidy, just because it's going to wind up in a big roll anyway. I'll fold one side in, fold the other side in over that. This is basically creating a roll that will go right down the middle of the roof next fall. Throw my straps in so they're out of the way. And then at this point, you can fold it, you can roll it however you want. Just roll it up like a giant sleeping bag. Try to brush those leaves off. They're not really going to hurt anything, but you don't need them. When you get to the end, you kind of got to give it a moment to get that air out. But now this roll is set up to where in the fall, all you got to do is lay it on one end of the roof, unroll it, flip the sides down, and you're ready to go. You drained your unit for the season last fall, so this would be a good time to hook up a garden hose with a known source of fresh water, like your own household water system. Hook up to that and just flush out the plumbing system really well. Leave the anode out of your hot water tank and flush that out good. Flush out your whole plumbing. Run the water through your sink, your toilet, your bathtub, and any other water sources you have, just to flush them out really good. Some people will put some bleach water in the tank and then run the pump a little bit to sanitize it. I don't personally, just because I don't actually drink out of my water system anyway. I take jugs or bottled water with me for drinking and cooking, and just use my water system for sanitation purposes. But if you are going to drink it, it is really wise to sanitize it and flush it out really good pre-season. Inside your unit, it's good to just give everything a good looking over. Make sure you didn't have any rodents get inside and create a nest over the winter. Water leaks or other issues that might be a concern. If you watched my winterizing one, I mentioned that I leave the refrigerator open all winter so it doesn't get mildewy or something. If you didn't, you better check that carefully before your first trip so you don't have a rude surprise. I also left open the access panel for the water system, and the bypass valve for the hot water is open. That will be on the right where you can see the red and blue lines connecting. I will leave that as it is until I actually take my first trip. The other thing I did, if you watch that video, is I shut off all my breakers. I'm going to leave them off again until my first trip, but that is something you'll want to be sure to remember when it's time to travel. Next thing you want to check is your tires. These are extremely important. I actually had a couple situations in the past where I had some bad results with tires going bad on me due to issues beyond the scope of this video. But check to make sure you got decent tread. Check your tire pressure to make sure it matches what's recommended on the sidewall. Pretty much every tire will have someplace on there that it will say rated for a certain PSI or a certain amount of load at a certain PSI. This one actually says it's rated at 80 PSI, and I'm showing about 60, so I will need to top that off before my first trip. Also, very important is your wheel bearings. I recently had to have some major rebuilding done on this one. Well, actually I put a whole new axle under it because of some issues, and this one now has a grease zerk inside there. I'm not going to add any grease right now because I can see lots of really clean, fresh grease inside there, so that's great. If I couldn't see that, I'd stick a grease gun in there and give it a couple of good squirts. Since I can see it, I'm going to put the rubber cover back on so it's protected for the next trip. If you don't have the greasable fittings, then you want to be sure to get your wheel bearings repacked on a regular basis, or if you're comfortable with it, do it yourself. It's a good idea before the season to check your smoke alarm, propane alarm if you have one, and carbon monoxide alarm if you have one. All of those have a finite service life. Actually, last summer, my propane alarm started going off and in the middle of the night, which was concerning, and I determined it was because it was at the end of service life. So I replaced it, and surprisingly, a couple months ago, I got an email from Amazon saying the part I had purchased might be fraudulent, and they were sending me a free replacement. So I just finished installing the brand new replacement for the brand new propane alarm. But anyway, it's worth checking that. Check your smoke detector and make sure those are all good for your season. And with that, my camper is ready for the season, and pretty much other than packing food and personal items for the next trip, it's ready to roll. So hopefully we can add some more stickers to new places. I did just finish adding the URLs for my YouTube and WordPress sites, because what good are those if people can't watch them? Speaking of which, I sure appreciate you watching. If you don't mind, give me a like and a follow down below, and we'll have some more for you in the future. Thanks, and happy travels.